Good morning all. This is Dr. Sajja Suneel from Data Science Department. Today I am here to discuss you about principles of Internet of Things. In this, today we are going to discuss about how to manage the IoT system, and in this we are going to discuss about net configuration as well as YANG model, as well as SNMP model, as well as NETOPEER model. These are the four different kinds of models which we are going to use for managing the network in our Internet of Things systems. In the previous class also we have seen exactly how the things are. Once again we will memorize those particular things which are very crucial to discuss about this net config as well as SNMP and YANG model as well as NETOPEER model. And today I am going to discuss with you in detail about this net configuration as well as this particular thing called YANG. Yeah, before entering into the particular thing, to discuss about the basics which are required for managing the IoT system in this network management. This particular course is going to give you about particular understanding about the fundamental concepts, what kind of technologies we are using, and what are the different kinds of applications we are utilizing for managing the network system as well as for managing the Internet of Things. These are the basic things which are going to be provided by this particular course, and if student had this course equipped with this kind of course, they are going to know the current core principles which are underlined in these IoT systems, like such as architecture, networking, sensors, actuators, data management, securities, as well as multiple emerging trends which are existed in different levels of IoT. Like that's what different levels of IoT systems which are emerged in day-to-day life. Those are the things which students are going to able from this particular course. And in this particular course, the topic which we are discussing today was related to the second module, which is IoT networks and management. In this IoT network and management, this particular module is going to discuss about how the IoT network system was and how the IoT network system was managed, why management is required to configure the things, to update the things, to check what are the devices, how the devices are responding, like sensors wise, security wise, as well as the basic principle wise, what are the basic protocols which we are using. All these things are going to be known to us in this particular IoT network and management system, which we discussed from the past 4 to 5 classes. And in today's module, we are going to discuss majorly on this particular net configuration, YANG model, SNMP, and NETOPEER. These are the four different kinds of things which are going to be used at IoT system management. Today we are focusing on what network config, what YANG was, and what SNMP was, what NETOPEER was. Along with that, we are knowing in detail about net configuration as well as YANG in detail in this particular class. Just I'll give you an overview about what SNMP was, what net configuration was, what YANG model was, what NETOPEER was, before entering in detail about these particular things in IoT system management. Have a look, guys, what these particular things are, why we require this particular system management for the purpose, what are the main objectives which are designed from this particular concepts, which are our main intention was you need to understand the challenges which we are going to be managed throughout these IoT devices. There are n number of devices which are placed in the particular IoT system. We are knowing how these devices are going to be managed and what are the different kinds of challenges we are going to face whenever we try to manage these kind of IoT devices. Along with that, we are gaining some knowledge about the protocols which we are using at the time of configuration, at the time of monitoring, at the time of data retrieval from the devices which are placed in the IoT system. And also we are knowing about the different kind of data modeling. Why data modeling is required? For representing device configurations as well as for stating the information of that particular device, whether the device is idle, either the device is working on something, either the device is not working. We are knowing the exact status information. These are the main objectives which we focused. What are the outcomes which we are going to get from these particular things in network management basics, such as net configuration? From net configurations we are going to know the concept of what net configuration was, what this protocol was, and what purpose it is going to be used. It is basically used for managing the network configuration. For that was the purpose of this particular protocol. And also you guys are going to understand about this net configuration using remote procedural calls, which is RPS, for the purpose of communication between sender and receiver. And also it is going to recognize, we are going to recognize about this net configuration in managing the IoT network devices. And ANG is a protocol which is a geo model for this net configuration. By using this ANG models, which you are going to know the structure of configuring the data from IoT devices, and we are also able to know about some basic models which are related to ANG model. And coming to the next one, which is NETOPEER. NETOPEER was the thing which is going to be known to us as a management framework. The previous two are the different kinds of protocols, geo protocols we can call it as. Why? Because the both can be used. We can create multiple wonders in this IoT devices. And in this NETOPEER, which is a framework which is going to utilize both protocols such as net configuration and ANG protocols. And by using this NETOPEER, we are going to simplify the device management tasks like configuration and data retrieval. For doing these purposes, we require this NETOPEER. And by seeing the previous two protocols along with their applications, we are equipped. By knowing about these particular things, we are equipped with how to configure automatically, how to manage large number of IoT devices which are existed in a huge IoT system. And also we are capable of knowing the health of that particular device, monitoring the health and performance of the devices manually also. And also we are capable of knowing the simplicity of the data which we collected for analytical purpose on various kinds of IoT sensors and actuators which are placed in that existing system. This knowledge is going to be applied on multiple IoT applications such as smart homes, industrial automation, remote monitoring sensors, weather monitoring sensors. Like this, multiple things we are going to apply in future by knowing all these things. These are the basic outcomes which we are going to get after successful learning about these particular protocols which are utilized for basics of IoT system management. What was the exact need for managing a particular IoT system? In the previous class also I have told you the main need of this particular system management was, it is auto configured, monitoring operational and statistical data, for improving the reliability, for making the system-wide configurations along with multiple system-wide configurations, and retrieving and reusing configurations. These are the basic needs for a particular IoT system management. These are the specific needs which I defined, as well as which is defined authorizedly from the particular IoT system. What we are going to do, how the things are going to be managed in Internet of Things. The things are going to be managed by using this particular network configuration and protocol, as well as SNMP, as well as NETOPEER. Why these things are used in Internet of Things? As you all know, there are n number of connected devices in a particular IoT system, which we officially called as IoT devices. There are n number of devices. managing each and every device is going to be get crucial. If there are 4 devices, it was okay. If there are 100 number of devices, then what you are going to do? In such a case, it was crucial, right? And at that particular point of time, we have a certain breakdown of some key protocols and tools which are used in that particular system management. We'll see in detailed version such as SNMP, network configuration, ANG, and NETOPEER. We'll start with discussing about SNMP, which is Simple Network Management Protocol, which is SNMP, Simple Network Management Protocol, which is the first thing in this particular basic of IoT system management. For what purpose? What exactly SNMP was? Simply, in one word, I will say an industry standard protocol which is used for network device management purpose. An industry standard protocol which is used for network device management purpose. SNMP was a industry standard protocol which is used for network device management. And how this SNMP is going to work? As I told you, it is a manager agent model. And in this manager, which we officially call as network management station, being as a manager, I need to send a request to my agent for running on devices to get information from the management information base or for changing the configurations. For this particular purpose, only SNMP is going to be utilized. This is how SNMP is going to work. By using this SNMP, there are some advantages and also there are some disadvantages such as pros and cons. What was the advantage? It is widely adopted and it is very simply to set up. See here, the pros: widely adopted and simply to set up. And what are the disadvantages? It is having, as you know, it is having a limited capability of data and security concerns compared to the previous older versions. Here it was less. Those are the cons of using SNMP. Now we'll go to network config and ANG. As I told you, it was a powerful duo. Why it was a powerful duo? Network configure is capable of doing something and ANG is capable of doing something. If you combine these two together, then it is officially stated as a powerful duo. What these two are? In simple way, I can say it as a powerful duo for managing the configurations and network devices. I can say like this: for managing the configuration on network devices. As I told you, in an IoT system, if there are 100 IoT devices which are placed, to configure them, it was a crucial task. That particular time, a powerful geo which is used for managing configurations on network devices, will use this network config and ANG. What network config? What ANG? A network config, which is a protocol which is going to define how to communicate with a particular device by using this configuration management. Here we are going to use a secure SSH transport for communication purpose. Whereas in ANG, it was a data model. See the difference. Network config was a protocol. ANG was a data modeling language which is used along with network configuration, along with that particular protocol, which is defined the structure of configuration, the data between the devices. For that purpose only, these two will be called as a powerful duo. Whereas network configure is a protocol which is going to define how the communication has to be done in between the device management. Whereas the ANG is a data model language which is used with network configuration for defining the structure and also for configuring the data on devices. How these two will work together, which is network config and ANG. How these are going to work together? As I told you, network configuration is going to provide the communication framework, while ANG is going to deal what and how the data is going to be exchanged between the sender and receiver, between source and destination. How the things has to be done, what has to be done and how it has to be done. That can be taken care by the ANG data model language. Now it was clear, right? Along with that, as I told you, every thing is having advantage as well as disadvantage. By using this powerful DO, the advantages are it was very flexible. It is going to allow the complex data modeling, and the disadvantages are steeper learning curve compared with SNMP. These are the advantages and disadvantages of using network and ANG model. Now we will go and we'll see discussing about NETOPEER. What NETOPEER was? As I told you, NETOPEER, which is what exactly it was. It was a open source software which is suitable for network management system. What it is? It is a open source software which is suitable for network management. Three things. NETOPEER. NETOPEER, which is a open source software. Coming to netconfig protocol. Coming to YANG, data defined language. Now you got the difference between NETOPEER, netconfig, and NETOPEER was a protocol, ANG was a data defined language, NETOPEER was a open source software. If you observe the difference, all these three are used for network management as well as such as communication, security. All this comes under management only. What it is? See here. It was an open source software which is suitable for network management. And how this particular NETOPEER is going to work? It is going to work by providing such as tools for configuring the management, such as monitoring, automation of protocols such as network config and SNMP. What are the benefits of using this NETOPEER? Here it is offering you a particular platform for managing the networking devices such as network config and SNMP. These are the things. And in summary, we can simply say that SNMP is going to offer a wide range of approaches for simple devices, whereas network config and ANG provide a most powerful and flexible solutions for configuration and data modeling, whereas NETOPEER is a service which is giving you a practical toolkit for leveraging the protocols. We need to choose the exact one to according to our requirement. See here, we need to choose a correct approach by depending on the factors what we are going to do. Such factors are the complexity of our IoT devices along with the configuration needs which I am using in that particular IoT system, and also we need to check what kind of security, what kind of automation is utilized in my IoT system. And also we need to check along with the existing system network management infrastructure also. Why? Because if you haven't compared with the existing system, there will be no advancement. For suppose today I am using an advanced network security system. Might be tomorrow it was a lesser one. So a comparison is must and should. You need to verify your existing network management infrastructure and start extending this system management by using SNMP or network configuration or YANG model or NETOPEER model. These are the things which is very familiar, which we seen in the previous class also. And network configuration, as I told you, it is purely working on session based network management protocol. In this net configuration, which is going to allow you for retrieving this exact state and exact configured data for doing manipulations through the networking devices. If you observe the diagram once, there is a client and there is a server, and server is engaged with network configuration database where it was defined by ANG defined. Why it is ANG defined? As I told you, it is a data defined language. So it was defined by network config. This was a protocol, right? Network config was a protocol. Here it is a configuration, a database, and it is linked with server. And see here, what client want to do. ANG is defined two different things such as content and operations. Content is the configured data which we are going to transfer. And coming to operation, what kind of operation? Is there anything has to be modified? Are we going to change the configuration? Are we going to do some modification in the configuration? These has to be defined by ANG. And along with this, RPC, remote procedural calls or notifications can be taken care, and also along with the transportation such as SSH, TLS and consoles. In SNMP, SSH are going to be used, TLS are going to be used, and consoles are going to be utilized in this network config. As I told you, network configs works on SSH transport protocol. As I specified you in the diagram also, network configure was the thing which is working on SSH transport protocol. Here we are having a transport layer which is going to provide you end-to-end connectivity, which means server to client or client to server. Some particular point of end to some particular point of end, the connectivity system can be taken care by the transport layer. And also this layer is going to ensure you the reliable delivery of messages. And what network config is going to use? It is going to use the XML encoded remote procedure calls, extendable markup language encoded remote procedure calls for framing up the requests and responses. As I told you, it was an end-to-end connectivity, right? I have passed a request. It is going to give some response. This kind of communication can be done in this particular network configuration. Along with the remote procedure protocols mechanism, here it is encoded with RPC calls and notifications. And this particular network configuration is going to provide us multiple operators for retrieving and for editing the configured data from specific network devices. And also in this network configuration, as I told you, it was dependent on XML encoding. XML stands for extendable markup language, and which is a layer which is consists of configuring as well as the stated data which is XML encoded. And here we are using a schema for configuring and for stating. Configuring is different, stating is different. Configuring means we are changing some modification in the existing data. Stating data means we are defining some exact data. For suppose state data, x is equal to 10, y is equal to 20. This is what I am stating. Now x is equal to so and so value, y is equal to so and so value. That is what I am configuring. X is equal to 5, y is equal to 10. If I configured like that by modifying the existing data which is stated, that is what configurations was, which is defined by using the data modeling language called ANG. And this particular network configuration is going to do a clear separation of configuring and stating the data. And the configuring data resides within a network configured which is stored in a server, and we'll see ANG also. As I told you, ANG is a data model language which is used for modeling, both for configuring the static protocol, and this particular ANG model is going to define us for configuring multiple data, for stating the data, and for RPC calls, remote procedure calls are going to be defined in format of notifications. ANG models are the things which are defined for exchanging the data between network client and server, which is end-to-end communication. As I told you, both net config and ANG are powerful duos. Powerful duo. Why it is powerful duo? Network config and ANG. It was a protocol. It was a data modeling language. For that purpose only, these two will be officially called as a powerful duo. network config and ANGs are the powerful duo. As I told you, network configure is a protocol, ANG is a data modeling language, and by using this model, we are going to compromise the number of loop nodes which are framed in a hierarchical tree structure. See what network ANG module example are. There are leaf nodes which is specified by leaf and leaf list construct. Leaf nodes which are going to organized by containers or lists. An ANG model is we can import definitions from other modules also. For suppose ANG is a model, ANG is a model which is importing from other models. There are model 1, model 2. It can import the things. This ANG model is going to import some definitions from other models also. And along with that, why? Because it is a data defined language and where it is capable of enlisting the other modules information also. And here we are having a certain constraints which are defined for data nodes. Example, allowed values. So constraint means allowed values in ANG model. And here in this ANG model, we are dealing with the configured data and the stated data, which is configured statement, which is officially called as. And in this ANG model, there is a version called ANG version, which is used for toasting MI base, management information base. This toaster ANG module is going to give you the head information, which is followed by the identity declarations on various things, such as, see here, such as the leaf nodes, toast manufacturers, toast model number, and host status, which is defined on toast containers. These are called as leaf nodes, which are defined on leaf exactly. And see here, there are leaf nodes. Leaf is toaster container, and leaf nodes which are toaster manufacturer, toaster model number, toaster model, oyster status. These three, 1, 2, 3, toaster manufacturer number, and oyster status. These three are officially called as leaf nodes for the leaf called as toaster container. Each leaf node definition has a specific type, and optionally there will be a certain value which is defined for it. This module has consists of two RPC definitions, such as manage toast, which is make toast, and cancel toast. If you are doing something, that is making. If you are relating something, that is cancelling the toast. These are the two RPC definitions, making toast and cancelling the toast. And what exactly this IoT system management can be done with the help of both ANG as well as network config. What these are two are capable of for management of systems, will use this network config and ANG. What kind of management system can be done? For suppose there is a IoT system which is very familiar to you, called home automation. Treat this as example. Treat as example. Okay, guys. Home automation was the thing. This system has to be managed by us by using network config and YAN. By using network config and YAN, this home automation system has to be managed. Why it has to be managed in our home? There are n number of IoT devices such as CC cameras, smart windows, smart lights, windows, lights, fans, smart refrigerators, CCTV cameras, hard disk, security windows, like that. Multiple kinds of devices are placed and which are connected to this home automation. For that, managing that entire system can be taken care by management system. For managing that particular device, we require an API, application programming interface, which is really used for managing the things by in our mobile gadget. Also, if we are having a certain interface, we can manage the things. And transaction manager, what action has to be taken, what transaction is going to be performed, is there any other transactions which are in queue, the entire things can be taken care by this particular manager. For suppose rollback manager, rollback manager was the one who is taking care of this network management. Whatever the action is performing, either is there any kind of necessity to take back that particular action, this rollback manager is going to do. And data model manager, data, what kind of data model I am using, the entire information can be treated by this particular manager. And what kind of configured validator it was, whether it is validating with the current scenario, and what kind of configured database which is used in that particular system. And also the configure, we need to configure the application programming interface. Why? Because these interfaces are has to be updated day to day. Why? Because to meet the industrial needs, to meet the up to date trend, to update with both technically software wise. For suppose every one of us are using a particular application called phone pay. In phone pay, every 15 days or 20 days we are getting some updates, we are updating, we are configuring the database, we are configuring by giving some human validation. Yes, go for update, that is what you validator are. We are maintaining the application configurations, and we are also providing some particular things. That's what validator database will do. And configuring API, that's what I told you, a particular application programming interface which is used for controlling the entire IoT devices, which should be also configured, it should be updated. And also data provider API, this was the interface which is going to provide the data from the exact output IoT device to our particular hard disk. This is how these things are designed. See here, treat yourself as a user, and we have a particular laptop which is utilized for as an interface by using some particular API, application programming interface, and we using this management system. And in this management system we are using network conf. In this network configure server, we are utilizing management APIs, transaction manager, rollback manager, client, data model manager, configuration validation, authentication, and data provider API, configuration API, and configuration database, which is mixed with ANG model. See, these three are the ANG models which are here. These are the multiple ANG models which are placed in network config server, and these are linked with multiple devices called as managing objects, applications such as application status, application satisfaction, application performance, application alarms, and application configurations. All these things are connected with the help of this particular ANG only. ANG is a data defined language which is utilized for using this network management system. This is the diagrammatic representation for IoT system management by using network config and a powerful geo model, a powerful geo model, a powerful geo model utilized for IoT system management, for IoT system management. And that's it. Today we have known about this powerful network configuration as well as ANG model in detail. In tomorrow's class, I'll let you know about SNMP, Simple Network Management Protocol, and along with that, we are also knowing about NETOPEER model for managing this particular network system in the principles of IoT systems. Thank you guys. We'll meet again.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.